up, Rex?
Hi, good morning. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much for coming on today. As a part of our, partnership and relationship with STG, it's so great for us to have moments like this to really share the great work that y'all are doing. And, Jack set it up nicely for you today, threw you a good alley hoop, talking about how so much of what he does in his role when it comes to performing arts programs, that it's really connected to the education as well. Tell us a bit about your role and what it means for you to be doing that work in community here at STG.
Yeah, and again, thank you for having me this morning. And it's such a wonderful opportunity for me to talk about the work that we're doing through our education and community engagement department. And I would say my role for our department is to oversee all of our education programs that go through our organization. So things from workshops to residencies to matinees that we invite our youth and community to as well. And looking at all of our programming through our Broadway season as well as our performing our season dance series as well, finding engagements for them.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine though that so much of your work is really connecting to folks who are doing similar work in community, right? So that they can be connected to SDG and what you all are doing here. Tell us a bit about how you develop those kinds of partnerships to make sure young folks do know about the matinees, that, folks are actually intrigued and informed and being engaged in what you all are doing for education here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jack mentioned about our community work, and I feel like community is such an integral part of what we do here at STG, and specifically our department. As an organization, we are striving to be the people's theater where all are welcome, right? And I think one of the ways, in order for us to do that, is to really keep our community in mind and finding opportunities for folks to engage with us. And sometimes it's not about engaging with us coming to our shows here in the venues and seeing that. It's about us connecting to the community, so that folks that may not necessarily know who Seattle Theater Group is, that they can get to know us through the programs we have in the community, our partnerships that we have, and really finding those great organizations that fit within what we're trying to strive for here at STG to elevate our participants, our youth, and our community to give them a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about ways to measure success, right, when it comes to your role and what you do here, what are some of the things that really stick out to you in terms of being like, oh my God, we had a lot of engagement there, or wow, we had a lot of youth come out for this matinee? How are some of the ways that you really gauge, the effectiveness of what you're doing out here to bring community into this space?
Yeah, and sometimes the impact is not necessarily about the numbers, right?
Yeah.
It's about how that experience has been meaningful to them, and seeing all of our participants come through our programs and seeing the joy, the happiness, and seeing that growth, the trajectory of that from the first day that they come to one of our sessions that are over a week long, and to seeing them grow by the end of the week. And also when we bring our youth matinees, when we have our community members, our school groups come to see our shows here in our theaters, for them to see all of the vibrant community that we have here represented on stage, that's huge, right? For the youth to be able to see themselves on stage, to have that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, it was always such a big deal for me as a young person. And I talk about, being a theater kid and, all of the things that I've done in my youth. And that was so important to me. And I didn't realize as a young person the intentionality actually that it takes to be sure that there are diverse casts out here showcasing stories that, we grew up loving. I think about some of the amazing ways that I've seen, representation grow over the years. When you think about for yourself and, your culture, tell us a bit about personally what that means to you, because, being here in a space, I think you also are a representation of that intentionality for STG. But just tell us a bit about, how that diversity that you've been able to experience with different shows that come here, how that really impacts you.
Yeah, definitely. And a part of that is our programming department has done such a fabulous job this year of really bringing in what we have here in the Northwest, but what else is missing as well. And in terms of our education and community department, we look at some of our programs like More Music at the More and Dance This, and finding that as a platform to highlight the different communities that are here, the different cultural communities, to talk about the background, the culture through music, through dance, and that commonality is important when you're learning something new. Even for myself as well. I'm not only a person who is running these programs, but I'm learning about them myself. So it's great.
Yeah, I think that that's the great part about it that I've been able to experience as well is having people that I know participate in these programs. I mean, Jack mentioned Ailey Camp, and you just mentioned Dance This, and my goddaughter, she is one of the dancers for Northwest Tap Connection, but she was at Ailey Camp. She was a part of Dance This through Northwest Tap. She's had some great exposure, and so I'm always telling my oldest son was like, Mom, I'm an athlete. It's not for me, because I'm like, let me get you in the theater, son. But my younger son is really excited about it. I remember one of the first shows he saw was, through the Teen Summer Musical. And that was huge for him. He's like, oh my gosh. And we went home and he said, Mom, I want to do that. And I was like, oh my God, yay. I have a theater baby. I was excited. But I think, when as a parent, I'm always thinking about how can I expose my children to shows that are coming here so that they can get an understanding of what it means, to be on stage, to do something different, to have that creative side that they get to really, build upon and like learn from by seeing it on stage. So diversity really is huge. I mean, when you think about, what it takes to ensure that people know about what you guys are doing, that is where I think, we appreciate the relationship at Converge, because we're like, how can we be, helpful in that? Because we want to bring our community along and bring them in. But it also means you guys have to have other partnerships. So tell us a bit about how that, kind of integrates with your role.
Yeah, absolutely. One example of that is our Broadway Inclusion Program, which we work with our neurodivergent and disabled community members to bring a musical theater program. So they learn music and dance, and we tie it in with our Broadway season. So they get to learn inspired material from the Broadway shows that are coming through. We offer a live stream option of that, but we also, now that we're coming out of COVID and hopefully bringing things in person, we rely on our partners as well. So we're happy to partner with three amazing organizations this year, one being at North Shore Wrangler in Bothell, Summit Community Center as well, and as well as Friendship Adventures. So those organizations that really help elevate the work that they're doing, but also collaborating with us so that way we can provide these opportunities for their community members.
Yeah, this right there, that's what I'm talking about, Rex. It's like there has to be a way that you guys are really diving into community to make these programs, not just successful, but to really embed yourself in community. And I know that, we heard from board members the last time we were here. We heard from, leadership about that being a real thorough line. Like you guys are very specific to say, as you just called it, this is the people's theater. You want people to feel, included here, for it to be that inclusive space. But it means that you have to work at it, right? And so I really appreciate hearing some of that from you. When we think about some of the things that you look forward to, in your role and what you're able to bring in terms of that impact in community, what are some of those things for you that you really like, you take home with you and it resonates with you in a way to be like, man, I'm just grateful that I get to do this kind of work? What are some of those nuggets of joy for you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's learning about the community that we have here and that I'm not too familiar of, and just expanding my lens. I love that, and working with such amazing artists from those communities to, again, not only are they partaking their knowledge onto our youth, which is such an amazing and important part of what we do, but also inspiring me to provide an opportunity and a platform for them to share their story. And that's
Yeah.
what we're all about, is sharing our stories.
Yeah, it's true. I had asked Jack this. I got to ask you. I mean, when you think about your career path, tell us a bit about some of those pieces that you like really led you to where you are today with STG, because it's a huge role that you have to fill here when you talk about the intentionality in community, bringing in community partnerships, having people be engaged in the education programs here. What was your pathway to get to where you are today, Rex?
Yeah. Well, I was born in the Philippines. My family immigrated here when I was about 7 or 8 years old, and really found an interest in arts and specifically dance. And I just followed that path. I started also in my older years choreographing and teaching for different organizations and studios. And I was coaching a high school dance team for over 20 years
Wow.
of that. So through those experiences led me to working with STG as a teaching artist, and now managing some of the programs that I had worked under. And so it's just following the opportunities and the doors, and saying yes to everything to soak up all of the knowledge, and really grateful for that.
Yeah. This is a thing for me is, really being able to say yes and to grow and to be willing to grow and not be stagnant in anything that makes me feel comfortable. Right. So I just appreciate that you said that. Of course, I got to give you a second here to look right into that camera. Make sure folks know how to plug in if they are, maybe have an education program and their kids are not knowing about the matinees. How do they get connected with you so that they can be partners with STG?
Yeah, definitely. Well, certainly make sure that you check out our website, stgpresents.org/ECE. You'll find a plethora of all of our programs. Specifically, I want to mention our More Music at the More program is an amazing program that we are seeking young musicians to be part of this year's 22nd annual. So if you know a young or emerging artist, I think 14 to 21, certainly reach out to us.
Absolutely. Rex, thank you so much for taking some of your time to be with me today on the Day with Trae. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Trey.
Absolutely. Oh, great, great discussion already. You guys, we got